Jimmy Phelan came to be the head coach of the Huskies. Coach Phelan had many successful years.
Caught in the end zone where Mark Patterson makes the catch with just 34 seconds to go.
Paul, great time! Yes! Walk into the end zone! Touchdown, Washington!
In mid-September of 1990, the University of Washington Husky football team was 2-0 on the season, but it didn't quite feel like the winning start that was expected.
It'll be Tommy Smith in the end zone, and he'll leave it right there.
This was a Husky team that had played 2 games that season and struggled against San Jose State here in Seattle, and then went on the road to a very unimpressive win over Purdue. And this was a pretty highly touted team, and people are wondering, gosh, are they really that good? Well, what a great measuring stick this would be with Todd Marinovich and mighty USC coming to town.
Marinovich looks like an audible. He has 2 wides to the right, 1 to the left.
The University of Southern California, longtime rival, nemesis, intimidating, with a player pedigree that always stacked the deck against the Dawgs. Players like Todd Marinovich, Robo-QB, everyone in the stands knew that he was dangerous.
Shall we say the fans were tuned up and ready for that one. That's as electric a crowd as I have ever experienced at Husky Stadium. It was palpable. You could just feel the buzz in the stadium.
And the crowd's letting them know about it.
If you talk about true fan base making an impact on a game, you may not feel like you alone can make an impact in a game. You're not running, you're not catching, you're not suited up. But that day, clearly the fans made a difference in that game. And that day against Todd Marinovich coming in, USC, Southern California Pretty Boys, and against here in Husky Stadium, the bad boys of Washington.
It's 28-8.
You know, I mean, Coach James had already, I mean, he made SC a focal point. I mean, obviously the Cougars have been the major rivalry, and now the Ducks with their rise. But, you know, Coach James says, if we're going to win this conference, we got to beat the best, and the best has always been USC.
We used to have what Don James would call the 48-hour rule. So 48 hours before a game, there's no laughing, joking around. You're getting ready for business. And that week he asked us to do it for the whole week. He said, you know, don't want you guys in your room watching the late show and this and that at night. Just focus. I'm asking you to do this just for this week.
An outstanding play to get Mark Brunell off on the right foot. You've got a quarterback who struggled for a couple of weeks.
This was just the 3rd game of the year, and Brunell, by his own admission, he was this close to getting benched. So the Huskies were in very tenuous, shaky situation going into that game.
Just underway, first quarter.
I think we'd lost 3 or 4 in a row to USC. So it was just this kind of release of the past, the recent past, which hadn't been so good. And it was like the team and the building both rose up to that moment. It was probably 100 degrees on the field.
It was extremely hot. I think USC came in, they were ranked probably number 5, and they were high on their horse, and they were arrogant. And they were coming out the locker room kind of arrogant.
The temperature, the atmosphere, the stadium, that was one of those times where it was like moving, like you felt like the earth was moving, almost like an earthquake. It was one of those days, and you know, sometimes we like, if SC comes to town, we like it to rain, so we have the advantage, but it didn't matter that day. It was one of those days that you never forget.
Ricky Irvin's not in the backfield. 2 wide receivers, 1 to each side. Marinovich wants to throw right away.
In the first quarter, USC mounts their first drive.
Knocked away by Chico Fraley. Good pressure by Chico. 2nd and 10 from the 30. They keep it on the ground. Irvins gets the call. Huskies are in the backfield. Steve Ettman, number 90, was the first to get there and bottle things up. Then the pursuit by the rest of the Huskies.
If I had to pick one guy, it would have to be Steve Emtman as the best player I've ever seen, and not just the most dominating player, but the best football player. And I think oftentimes we reserve that for offensive players, and because they handle the ball and so forth. But Steve Emtman as an athlete and a football player to me was absolutely unparalleled. Nobody could block him. He was the best football player I had seen then, and for my money still is the best football player I've ever seen go through here.
Key was stopping the run and forcing them into throwing the ball and forcing them into doing what we want them to do.
And he is jammed at the line of scrimmage. Second down and 8 for the Huskies on their own 36.
Sophomore Mark Brunell cranks up his left arm and gets the Husky offense rolling. First, it's a laser to Mario Bailey.
Throws, has Bailey open at the 45, gets up the midfield and knocked down there on the 49 of USC, and a first down for the Huskies. And Mark Brunell at quarterback.
On this day, you could see Mark Brunell as an NFL quarterback in the making.
Right side, got a man, open, good for a first down to the 37-yard line. Orlando McKay, number 4. Stephon Pace, the free safety, with the tackle. Second down and 13.
There was nothing finer than sitting back and watching Brunell pick SC apart play after play.
Behind Brunell. Again, the straight drop back, setting up the screen to Lewis. Got room to the outside as the SC Trojan goes out, or rather falls down, and Lewis able to stay in bounds for the first down. Lewis down to the 21. 35. McKay to the left, Bailey to the right.
And then it's Bailey one more time with an amazing catch at the 1.
Going into the corner, got a man, yes! Mario Bailey at the half-yard mark. Power formation, 2 fullbacks, Lewis. Touchdown Washington, but we do have a flag down. Let's see.
The Huskies waste no time getting up on the board. 7-zip in the first quarter.
Evidently it is against USC, and Washington scores on their second possession this afternoon with 7.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
Defense.
By far the best drive of this Husky team all year. Third down and 13. From their own 17.
USC's next drive stalls out.
Wellman to the left, we've got motion again. A lot of noise down there, and it's taking its toll on the USC offense.
And on their next possession, the Huskies get busy.
The delay fake, now the rollout. Looking for room, Brunell's going to run. Gets a key block against Scott Ross, down close to the first down inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. Oh, that's the thing SC was most worried about. How well this man can run.
A field goal attempt from the 16-yard line.
Let's see what it's about. Offside, SC. Oh, my.
And the Huskies get a second chance.
Crucial mistake.
It is up, and it's good.
Now the Dogs lead 10-zip after 1 quarter. USC
with a minute 15 remaining in the first quarter, 10-0.
Key was stopping the run and forcing them into throwing the ball and forcing them into doing what we want them to do. We really didn't blitz much those first series. We'd go out there and just establish that you're not going to run the ball on us. You're going to run the ball 3 times, you're going to lose 4 yards, and it's going to hurt. And then after that, we'd start getting in their heads and start to the fakes and the up calls, the changes, changing coverages, blitzing, fake the blitz. Quarterback doesn't know what to do, and the offensive coordinator up in the box doesn't know what to do.
It is third down and 6 from their own 18.
The beginning of the second quarter now, Marinovich with a pass attempt.
Here comes the pressure. Lob pass going for Wellman, interception, Washington. Eric Briscoe at the 25-yard line. Not the greatest pass I've ever seen. And with Washington leading
the middle of the second quarter, and USC is backed up deep in their own territory.
Washington's where they want to be right now as they go to Irvins, and again they're in the backfield, and Chico Fraley's the man who shoots through.
He's making checks and calls on offense. You're making checks and calls on defense. You may be actually changing something, or you might not. You might be just trying to get in his head, and you might pre-position yourself and your defensive lineman in a spot just to get him to run the ball where you want him, and that's actually a decoy, and there's a lot going on there. I remember yelling at quarterbacks to run. I loved it when they ran the ball. So when they'd get behind, they'd have to start throwing it, and I'd beg them and scream at the quarterback to run the ball.
He's always big and physical.
They had these elaborate blitzes, elaborate fronts, and they were cutting edge in terms of their ability to put pressure on a quarterback. It's not just the blitzing. It's the mental stress that a quarterback goes through, because you think of the progression for a quarterback. He comes up to the line of scrimmage, and it's like a little check mark. You got to handle the coverage. But you want to put that check mark in that box as quick as possible. And then the next check box is to read the defense, and the defense tells you to whom you're going to throw the football. It was such an assortment of disguised blitzes that I'm sure that he was spending a lot more time than he would have ever wanted to trying to decipher, is his protection handled. Clifford and Hoffman, they were just kind of walking back and forth, and there was this kind of, in one sense they were kind of calm. They were just like stalking their prey.
And it's 1st and 10 from the 46. Marinovich rolling out. Here come the Huskies, and they got him. Steve Epman, Travis Richardson were the first to get there. Chico Fraley came in and cleaned up.
Just the look in their eyes just kind of stunned some of us. We knew we were good, but we didn't know we were that good yet.
When the Huskies get the ball back, Greg Lewis goes to work.
Lewis gets the call. Got a seam, gets through, up to midfield. Now it's a foot race to the 44 as Stefan Pace is in on the tackle. Greg Lewis into USC territory, first down on the 44 on the 21-yard gain.
People always ask me, what was your best asset, Greg, as a running back? Was it your speed, your strength, your size? And I always tell them, no, it was my offensive line. The offensive line that I ran behind, I think put quite a few people in the NFL, starting with Ed Cunningham at the center, Jeff Powell at a tackle, Lincoln Kennedy at a tackle, Supele Malamala, and our tight end, Aaron Pierce. All those guys played in the NFL for a certain length of time. So not just the skilled players, we had some outstanding weapons on the offensive line.
6 minutes remaining here in the first half. 3 receivers to the right side here on 3rd down and 10. Huskies is getting into the secondary lately. And into the backfield. Tries to go deep. Got a man. It's complete to Mario Bailey on the 15 and good for a first down.
After a beautiful throw to Mario Bailey on the sideline, Mark Brunell goes on the attack using his legs.
Quarterback draw. And all the way down inside the 3, down to the 2, and it is a first down for the Huskies. And that is the value of a quarterback like Brunell. We said it many times, and that is living proof right there. Howard McGowan made the stop, number 7.
It was Pearl Harbor against SC, and to see the physicality with which the Huskies played, and Brunell played great, running, scrambling, throwing, making all the plays, the crowd, the shaking.
3 minutes remaining, so time still on Washington's side. There he is, Turner. Touchdown, Washington. For his second attempt at a point after. And it is good.
The Huskies extend their second quarter lead to 17 unanswered points, and USC is in a place they rarely find themselves in.
They thought that this would be another easy victory, and at that time, we hadn't beaten USC in at least 3 years, because my first 3 years we had lost to USC. We had not beaten them during my career, so I was really hoping that that day we would go out and be able to get a victory. And I don't think we knew how good we were. I think we had kind of played a little bit of a vanilla offense the first 3 games, but that day we turned loose on the USC Trojans.
Just the look in their eyes just kind of stunned some of us. We knew we were good, but we didn't know we were that good yet.
3rd down and 15. Wellman wide to the right.
You just watched him, and you saw that he was completely out of rhythm. No confidence, no sense of understanding schematically how they're going to make an adjustment. Undoubtedly, they were trying to make adjustments, but the Huskies were one step ahead of those adjustments.
1st and 10 with Wellman wide to the right side. They try to set up a screen. No, over the middle. Larry Wallace, interception. Tommy Smith down to the 22-yard line, and that is the second interception of Todd Marinovich today and for the year. He came in with no interceptions. Tommy Smith picks this one off. 15-yard return.
The situation for the Trojans goes from bad to really, really embarrassing.
Todd Todd had not allowed an interception in his first 2 games, and he has suffered 2 here in the first half.
The one guy that I really loved to watch was Mario Bailey. I would get up on 3rd down, knew there was a good chance they're going to throw it to him, and it was you know, you wish they would have had a jumbotron back in the day to watch the replays, but he was something. He was in my opinion the best receiver in the country, and it was just the way he carried himself and the way he made plays. It was a joy to watch. He's a guy I'd get off the bench to watch.
By the time we got to the SC game, we were in their backfield as much as they were in their backfield.
Here he comes. Good punt by Dale.
By the end of the first half, the Huskies lead 24-0. For USC, that's 24 reasons why they shouldn't have gotten on the plane to Seattle in the first place. The Husky team that was taking command of the field that day was the culmination of a plan put into motion by Jim Lambright the previous year, a year that the defense struggled.
Jim just had had enough and said, we need to make some changes, we need to do some things differently. And it was in that '89 season, the next week at Oregon State, that they unveiled this attacking style defense, the Chicago Bear defense of the day.
By the time we got to the SC game, it was the Florida game plan. We were in their backfield as much as they were in their backfield. And probably, for me, the #1 game that I got to witness in Husky Stadium as far as dominating a team.
It was much more of your players had been fed an attack style, and the taste of it was now accepted. It was something that not only did they buy into, but now we had played around with this enough so that we gave them the right to shift and change things on the field based on formations and motions and this sort of thing, so that it would add to our efficiency.
It was wisdom to balance of their players. You couldn't just go out there and line up and play if you couldn't think in this defense. You had to think, you had to think quick. You had to understand what we were doing, not just what you were doing, what everybody was doing, and where you fit in. And if somebody did a little different assignment than they were originally planning on, you had to adjust on the fly. And at the end of the thing, it's all got to work, and it's all got to work together. And we just adjusted off each other. We communicated great.
24-zip, 1st and 10 from the 28.
USC begins the second half right where they left off.
Here come the Huskies, got him again. Hampman is in there, Donald Jones, Chico Fraley.
And the Huskies pick up right where they left off.
Trying to set up the screens, got a seam to the 30, the 35, open ground, up to midfield. It's a foot race with a far corner to the 30, down to the 20, the 10-yard line. Calvin Holmes, number 21, who was the far cornerback, was able to get the angle on Lewis on the screen. 66 yards, and the tackle by Holmes.
The Husky offense mounts one more good romp down the field.
Lots of room. Midfield to the 40, down to the 30, to the 20-yard line and inside the 20. And they're saying, well, they'll stop the clock to move the chain. Marcus Hopkins, number 2, with a stop after the 45-yard run by Lewis. Barry in motion. Lewis. Nope. Brunell all alone. He got the first down. Let's see. It won't be a touchdown, but he got the first down. Some great faking by Brunell. Goodness sakes. 1st and goal from the 1. Double tight end. Turner. Touchdown, Washington. His second of the day.
It's 31-0 in the fourth quarter, and the Husky avalanche never stops falling on the Trojans.
Who would have thunk it?
It's a good feeling going out there and taking shots on Marinovich and the rest of those guys, and yeah, we did it. We realized it's ours for the taking, and we'd earned it.
Knocks it away. I don't see any flag. It'll be 4th down.
By the end of the game, cover boy Todd Marinovich is captured in this image.
I still have a picture sitting in my office at home of Marinovich, and with the quote from the press about all I saw was purple.
Todd Marinovich wasn't the only one who all he saw was purple. I think that went for everybody in the crowd that day. It was a spectacular day of Husky football.
All I could see was purple was exactly what we're talking about, the pressure defense, people up in your face, and them not knowing where we were coming from.
There's probably never been a time before or after that the crowd's been that loud for that long and that intense for the entire game. And not only did we beat USC, but we beat the tar out of them, and to the point that by the end of the game, they didn't want to play anymore. And everybody knows the famous quote by Todd Marinovich, all I saw was purple, but I can guarantee you that their defensive guys, all they saw was purple, and a lot of people running up and down the field on them. So I don't think anything compares. That game catapulted us into 3 straight Rose Bowl appearances, 3 straight Pac-10 championships, and almost 3 national championships in a row.
10-yard line.
I'll never forget the feeling. And you know, I come off the field, my mom's standing there, and she's you know, I mean, she's from back east. She doesn't know Husky football. She's got all her purple on, and you know, she can barely speak because she's been screaming as loud as she can because everyone else was screaming as loud as they could. And for me, that was the moment where it was like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be playing for this team. I'm supposed to be at this building. For us, we had such a good team of good guys who liked each other and worked hard. It was just confirmation that if you do things the right way and you're good people and you work hard, these are the results you can have. And the building was just staggering that day.
Next time on Greatest Moments at Husky Stadium. The James Gang arrives and takes Husky fans on a joyride all the way to Pasadena.
Almost goes all the way. Kyle Stevens was about a block away from a game breaker.